because first of all, who ever heard of a deputy CEO? Like, why is deputy in front? That sound like something you tell a little child. You know how like a child want to play video games and you give them the little controller but it ain't really plugged in? That's what that title feels like. Like your dad just handed you the controller but the inch was not plugged in. Nina is having a conversation with Andre and he says, oh, you obviously didn't know your father. What? No, nigga, I don't. He abandoned me. You're right. I don't know him. That was so stupid to me. Why would you say that? What's up? It's Nikki. Welcome back to my channel, King Nikki TV, where I give you commentary on popular movies and TV shows. In this video, I will be reviewing the new Prime original series, Riches. That is about a cosmetics company that ends up in jeopardy once the man who started the business is suddenly murdered. Now, this is a drama-filled show. It is not my typical cup of tea, but I was so into this. It gets very soap opera, which for me is cheesy, but this is actually a really well-made show. The acting, the writing, the script, how everything looks, I feel like this actually is one of the best series that I have watched this year. Now, we have a man named Steven or Stephen. I want to say it's Stephen or Steven. It's Steven. We have a man, Steven, who, and the series is set in the UK, and we have Steven who has a marriage, 2 kids. He ends up leaving that wife for another woman, and they end up, that woman and their 2 kids, Nina and Simon, go to America. Steven stays in the UK with his new wife, and he has 3 kids. Alicia, I'm sorry y'all, I'm so bad with names. He has 3 kids, which is not his son, Gus, sorry, Gus, Alicia, and Wanda. Those are his 3 kids with the second wife. Now, we have Nina and Simon over in America. They have not seen their dad since they were little kids. Basically, he divorced their mom and divorced them too, child. But Nina is extremely successful. She's about to be like the youngest CEO at this marketing company. When the series starts off, she just facilitated like this huge deal. And Simon is successful in his own right as a makeup artist to like the stars and stuff like that. Now, on the other end, the siblings in the UK, Gus is a deputy CEO, which he kind of just has a glorified title at his dad's cosmetic company. And Alicia is a YouTuber. And Wanda, y'all, what does Wanda do? Wanda don't do nothing. Now, the series starts off where all of a sudden, out the blue, Nina has not heard from her father since she was like 7 years old, and suddenly, randomly, he calls her, and pretty much it's like, someone is trying to come after my company, someone is trying to come after me, and she pretty much is like, I don't want to hear it. And it was crazy to me how the phone call went down. Like, baby, I ain't heard from you since I was 7 years old, and he started the conversation just real casual. I'm just like, I don't know, Nina, it's your father. Like, excuse me, sir? That was so crazy. Now, we end up seeing that he's at the office. He has this interview with a white reporter who is just so dense and is telling him about how, oh, do you think prejudice or racism or anything has played a part in, you know, whatever has happened with his company? Because pretty much, when Steven started the company, certain people didn't want to like give him funding or help or anything with the company. The same white company that ends up trying to buy it now that it's successful. But I think he even says to the guy that his publication has never featured him, despite the fact that he is a self-made, like, successful British company. So that kind of speaks for itself right there. Now, after the interview, we see him in his office and he ends up having a stroke and dying. And Nina's brother ends up coming to tell her our dad is dead. And she just kind of is just like, he been dead to me. So now that he is actual dead, it changes nothing in my life. So Simon ends up convincing her to go to the UK with him for the funeral, you know, just pay their respects. That was their dad, even though he abandoned them. But the thing that really confused me that I didn't get was, now Claudia, Stephen's second wife, has some kind of grudge, animosity against Nina and Simon, which is really weird to me. First of all, they were kids. Like, they don't have anything to do with anything. Second of all, you took our mama husband. Our father abandoned us. I thought that was really strange for her and her kids to have such attitude about Nina and Simon off rip. Very unwarranted. Like, their father abandoned them. They were just kids. That part for me is something that I still just don't get. That was very confusing for me. They were just innocent kids in the situation. I was really confused by that. It was just really weird. Now Claudia ends up changing the time of the funeral, which affected Nina and Simon, because remember, they're flying in from the United States. Once they land, they find out she changed the funeral and we've missed it. Now there is a lawyer that is kind of facilitating things and in contact with Nina and Simon named Gideon, a white guy, and he was friends with Stephen, but then they had a little falling out. He actually worked for the company. Now he's pretty much being the go-between, kind of trying to facilitate stuff with Nina and Simon. And once they arrive at the house, they arrive just in time for the reading of the will, which the Gideon is like, look, we could have saved this for another day. But Claudia is just like, nah, let's do this ish now. Now the will was kind of crazy to me because Stephen leaves $1 million for his secretary and leaves $500,000 for his siblings. Baby, why the secretary got more than the siblings? That was very odd to me. Then his wife Claudia, he leaves her the house, which is a huge house, which means that's an expense, and $20,000 monthly allowance. That $20,000 don't sound to me like it equates to the maintenance and the lifestyle that what this house looks like. Baby, how the secretary got more than the wife? Now, something else that was weird with the, and I'm sorry, every time I look down, I'm looking at my notes. Something else that was weird to me about the will was he leaves a video will. And he says, I leave to my children my genetic bloodline. Children equates your offspring. So I was like, why did he have to specifically say genetic bloodline? But I was just like, whatever, because this is British, you know, maybe it's like, you know, a different culture and stuff that I just am not familiar with. I'm like, so it was odd, but I didn't really think much of it. I was like, you know what, yeah, maybe that's just how things go on over there. So he leaves 30 million pounds. I think I said dollars earlier when I was speaking about the money left. It's pounds, sorry. He leaves 30 million pounds to be divided equally amongst his children, but they do not get the money until their 40th birthday. Which Simon kind of do a little giggle because the 3 siblings are young and nowhere near 40. Y'all got some ways to go for your money. Now, in the end, he ends up saying about, now I leave the company to, and Gus is just perking up and stuff because it is expected that Gus is going to get the company, which this is odd too. Gus is not the oldest, Alicia is. So I would just think the normal line of succession is the eldest child, which technically the eldest child is Nina, but in his new family, the eldest child is Alicia. But for some reason, it was expected that it would be left to Gus. And this is addressed in the series where she's like, I'm the oldest, but I'm a girl. So she just kind of got tossed aside because Gus is a boy. But the bombshell that's dropped is the company is left to Nina and Simon, which basically equates to they get the majority shares of the company, because it's like a group of shareholders. They have the controlling shareholder amount. Now, this was a shock to everyone, including Nina and Simone. Now, as much as I like this series, it's a few things I don't like. I would like it a lot better if it was more along the lines of like a show like Billions, where the adversaries are both smart, intelligent, calculating. For me, it's not much of a war or whatever, because Nina and Simon are the ones with any damn sense. Claudia and her kids are almost unbelievably stupid. It is a lot that they do that hurts themselves. Claudia acts a fool when it is said that Nina and Simon get the company. And Nina tries to say, Claudia, look, which she is trying to say, we don't even want this ish. But Claudia tells her to shut up. And she's like, she takes jabs at their mother. And it's like, you dumb idiot. If you would just shut the hell up, you would actually get what you want. And it's quite a few situations in this where if Claudia would just shut the fuck up, she would get exactly what she wants. And that is a thing. Oh, that was a big irksome thing for me in the series, was just how dumb Claudia and her kids are. That irked me, because it felt like unbelievably dumb and naive in situations that I was like, why y'all ain't got more sense than this? Now, Nina and Simon end up going to Gideon and saying, we don't want this. And he tries to kind of talk them into keeping it, like it could be a lot of money. This, this is like a huge successful cosmetics company, but they don't want nothing to do with it. Now, we get to this meeting. Everyone comes together. It's Claudia, Gus, Alicia, Wanda, Gideon. We also have Andre. Andre is the CFO of the company. He is also carrying on an affair with Claudia. They are mutually using each other. Nina and Simon, of course, is at the meeting. And we come together for this meeting so that Nina and Simon can sign away their rights. Okay. Now, the siblings, Claudia's kids, are just like, thank you for doing the right thing, And Nina and Simon have no animosity to them. They've been cool. So when they're like, thank you for doing the right thing, Simon is just like, of course. Nina sits down to sign the papers. And Claudia ends up having to open her dumbass mouth. And I don't even know why she was talking. She goes into like, oh, Simon started this business and he had this vision. Why are you even saying this? Why are you even talking? And it strikes a chord with Nina, and she's like, hold on now. No, my mama started this company in our flat on XYZ Street. And Claudia ends up saying, well, your mama couldn't keep the business and she couldn't keep her man. Y'all, come on now, child. Stuff like this was irking me. Claudia is so stupid. So, of course, Nina's like, F this. The deal is off. I ain't doing it. So they end up leaving, and no one is left in the room except except Claudia, her kids, and Andre. And Andre pretty much says, if you would have just shut the hell up, we could have had this done. And Gus jumps in like, don't talk to my mama like that. And I'm like, hold on now, Gus, because he got a point. If your dumbass mama would have just shut her mouth for 5 minutes, y'all could have gotten exactly what y'all wanted. Nina and Simon have a conversation, and Simon is like, but we is still finna give them back the company, right? But Nina goes into why do you think he left it to us? And even though earlier Simon posed the same question of why do you think he left the company to us, and at the time Nina was just like, I don't even care. But now she's like, well, why do you think he left it to us? And Simon pretty much is like, you are about to be the youngest president of marketing at your job. We have whole lives back in America. But now is when Nina goes into telling him, he called me. He called me and he said that someone is trying to hurt him. Someone is trying to hurt his company. And it was the day he died. And she's like, she feels like she needs to figure out what exactly was going on. And we end up, what I was confused by was, we ended up, now they tell us that the kids, Wanda, Gus, Alicia, their homes are under the company. And Claudia is playing her kids like fiddles, putting these bugs in their ears that, oh, what do you think will happen if they own the company? They're going to take where you live. Like, why would they do that? That makes absolutely no sense. That I would just make people homeless and just take what and that's something else that was bugging me, is I did not get the root of this animosity and hate towards Nina and Simon, particularly Claudia, because I can kind of get it from the kids. They've been brainwashed by their mama. But I didn't get it from the mama. When the will reading happens and she yells at Nina, you're not going to win, little girl. She ain't trying to win nothing. Like, what are you even talking about? Like, it was very confusing. But she just was going into, what do you think is going to happen? They're going to take where you live. They're going to, just take everything from y'all. It made no sense to me. Now, Wanda is with her boyfriend, who you can tell off rip is a user, but whatever. And she goes to use her card to buy coffee and it's declined. And that confused me. Like, you really ain't even got money to buy coffee. What is coffee? I don't drink coffee, but it can't be more than like, what, $5? So you mean to tell me you don't even have the money to buy coffee? That confused me. And I felt like, what does that have to do with the company? Because you don't even work for the company. Like, I completely get my dad has a company and my loft, or what do they call it over there, flat, is in the under the company. But what they got to do with your debit card and buying coffee? But whatever. Now, Nina ends up, don't want to sell. She goes into the company. She's the new CEO of the company. And we have Maureen, who is the secretary. And she wants to just pack her stuff up because baby just got $1 million. But Nina talks her into just staying for a little while to help Nina get acclimated and everything. And Nina ends up having a meeting with everyone in the company, and Gus strolls in late, tries to take over because his mama done put a battery in his back about you going there and you show that little girl this your company, whatever the hell, y'all. Some of this stuff was just so stupid, like it annoyed me, but I really, really love this show. But he busts up in there. And then, so he busts up in there with the battery in his back from his mama. But then when Nina kind of shuts him down, then he squirrels out like a little child. Baby, I thought you just bucked up. Why is you slinking out of there upset like a little kid, poking your lips out? And speaking of, what was with all of the sucking of the teeth? Is that a Nigerian thing? I was so confused. I was like, why everybody keep doing that? But anyway, if y'all are familiar with why they kept doing that, and if that's a Nigerian thing, please let me know in the comments. Is it a Nigerian thing or a UK thing? I was very confused. Now, Andre was on my nerves. And I was kind of confused as to Andre's position because Claudia tells him, oh, if Nina and Simon get the company, you're going to be the first to go. That didn't really make sense to me. Why would he be the first to go? Like, Nina and Simon don't even know him from a hole in the wall. So why would he be the first to go? I just didn't understand the seed she was trying to plant. And I didn't understand why he was just kissing Day behind. Like, I get it. They had a little affair going on. But Nina and Simon got the company. I would be over there trying to smooth with them. Or at least playing both sides. Smooth with them. But don't let Claudia know that's what you're doing. And act like, so whoever wins the battle, I just didn't get why he would immediately just off the bat be against Nina and Simon. I don't know. That kind of threw me. Like, I'm looking out for me. I'm finna smooth with everybody. So whoever wins, I'm in the right position. But something along the lines of what I said didn't make sense about why they got all this animosity with Nina and Simon. Like, they have an attitude as if Nina and Simon abandoned Steven, and he ain't the one that abandoned them. Like, that's how their attitude is. But Nina is having a conversation with Andre, and he says, oh, you obviously didn't know your father. What? No, nigga, I don't. He abandoned me. You're right. I don't know him. That was so stupid to me. Why would you say that? It was stuff like that I was like, excuse me, sir, hello. Y'all, he abandoned them. It just was throwing me off. Now, Gus and Alicia gotta be the dumbest of the siblings. No, not Alicia. Wanda, sorry. Gus and Wanda gotta be the dumbest of the siblings. Wanda goes in talking about, I don't want them taking what's ours. I don't want them messing with our trust funds. Girl, they ain't got nothing to do with your trust fund. What are you even talking about? Like, this, it was like we was against them just to be against. Like, we had no real legitimate reason to be against Nina and Simon. It made absolutely no sense. Now, instead of going to work, Gus goes on some job interviews, like 5 job interviews, and gets a harsh reality check. Because, first of all, who ever heard of a deputy CEO? Like, why is deputy in front? That sound like something you tell a little child. You know how, like, a child want to play video games and you give them the little controller, but it ain't really plugged in? That's what that title feels like. Like, your dad just handed you the controller, but the ish was not plugged in. But he gets a rude awakening and a reality check when he tries to go for these job interviews. And really, Gus would run that company into the ground. And that was kind of making me mad. I just kept yelling at the TV, Nina, give them the company. Give them the company, let them run it into the ground, and let these niggas go broke within 6 months. Like, I really so badly wanted that to happen. Because that is it. If the company was left in the control of Claudia and her kids, that company would go under. Quick, fast. Was already going under because Nina comes in and within a few days discovers that somebody has been embezzling money from the company and that the company is missing about $20 million. None of y'all knew this, but the outsider came in and figured this out within a few days. I was just so badly wanting her to just let them niggas go under. Hand it to them. Wash your hands up and say, here you go. And wait and watch it crumble and fall. But Nina was holding on to, this was her mother's dream. This was her mother's idea. So she was hanging on to that and wanted to hold on to the company to get some type of retribution for her mother. Now, a little side plot that's going on with Gus is the night his dad is rushed to the hospital, Gus is pulled over unlawfully, just, you know, driving while black. And because this cop pulls him over, it feels like, oh, that's a nice car. Like, what is nigga like you doing in a nice car? Gus ends up being held up from getting to the hospital. By the time he gets to the hospital, his dad has passed away. So a little side plot with Gus is he gets a private eye to dig up dirt on this cop, and simultaneously Gus has a crush on a bartender at this club he goes to. Gus also, and when I said that Wanda boyfriend was obviously just a leech, Gus's friends are obviously as well. And I feel like Gus knows it, so why are you around them? Like, I don't get stuff like that. You know they're using you, so why continue to be around them? But anyway, so he ends up liking the bartender. And this was crazy to me. First, he goes to buy this expensive behind bracelet for the bartender, and we see her upset saying, you can't buy me, and kind of giving it back. But then the next time we see her, she in bed with him. I was like, wait a minute, wasn't she just yelling at him? But anyway, he tried a different approach. He got the girl. So then when the season ends, we see that same cop roughing up the young lady. Like, tell your boyfriend to stop meddling and bothering with my livelihood and stuff like that. Which I thought was weird. Baby, why are you going to jack up a female? Why not go to Gus? Go jack him up. Go threaten him and tell him to leave you alone. Why are you messing with a woman and telling her to tell her boyfriend to leave you alone? I don't know. But we end up seeing Maureen, the secretary, deleting emails and files on a computer, which initially we don't know what this is about. Obviously, I'm just like, she ain't taking no 20 million. Like, I'm not even worried about that. But we don't really know what she's up to or why she's deleting these emails. And along with trying to figure out who has been embezzling $20 million from the company, we also discovered there is a secret shareholder. And we need to find out who that person is, because if Claudia finds the shareholder first, that will give her controlling shares. So Nina and Simon need to have Gideon to find the shareholder first. Now, Andre ends up discovering about the shareholder and trying to track the shareholder down. And we also have a situation where we have a product and people get on Facebook to say this product took their edges out. And Nina tells Nina tells Gus to get on this. Do y'all think he do it? No, not at all. Not at all. And that's why I just kept feeling like, please just give them the company and let them run it into the ground. But Alicia ends up discovering the Facebook thing and working with Nina to help get all of this stuff mitigated. We fire the guy who's over products, who let this go through. And Simon and Nina and Alicia get together. They toast to bad dads. They offer Alicia a job at the company. And there's also a situation where Simon is sitting outside and Claudia comes up and they sit and have a conversation. And Claudia, obviously, ulterior motives trying to get info, but they're like laughing or whatever. And I'm like, y'all could actually be a good, like, get along and really benefit from each other. But y'all so busy with this them versus us, which again, I just still don't get it. We were kids. We have literal done nothing to y'all. Y'all father, who is our father, abandoned us. Left our mama for y'all mama. We should be the ones who walked in with an attitude, but we didn't. Y'all walking in with an attitude when we ain't have nothing to do with nothing. That just kept throwing me. Now, we end up having a situation where we throw this event every year that Claudia usually takes the reins on, where we find a girl that's going to be the face of it. And the issue comes up where, how come the face of this always is a mixed race, light skinned, certain look black girl? And Nina wants to go in a direction where we pick a dark skinned, brown skinned young lady who isn't that stereotype. Now, we have the ceremony, and this was weird to me. At the ceremony, when Nina announces the winner, why the light-skinned girl storms out? I thought that was weird. Like, if you don't win something, aren't you supposed to just sit there gracefully and just clap and applaud the other person? Like, yeah, you could be upset you ain't win, but I thought that was really dramatic and weird that you would literally get up and walk out. Now, at this event, we end up having a big situation where this young lady who worked at the company, now Nina's trying to figure out who stole the 20 million, and she gets IT to try to find out about emails and stuff that were deleted. It leads to a certain young lady who is an employee. So since her ID was used, she ends up losing her job. But the investigation leads us to find out that it was actually Maureen who used the young lady credentials to delete stuff. But once the young lady is just initially fired, she shows up to the event. She had a intimate relationship with Andre, and she outs his relationship with Claudia. And Gus, at the event, while we try to announce the winner, and this is like a big deal, this look for our company, he punches Andre, which I thought was weird. Why are you punching your mama boyfriend? This is a consensual relationship. Why did you punch this young man? It just, whatever. I just want them to run the company into the ground and get what they deserve, which is to just go under. But Nina actually her pick of who got to be the face actually benefited the company. She was making moves that was actually working in favor of the company. But it's like everything she did, Claudia was just like, how we know this 20 million missing? She playing games. When Alicia tells her that she got a job, she's just like, I felt like she wanted to say, you ain't smart enough, they using you. But she's just like, they using you. She just had just this whole thing with just being against Nina and Simon and wanted to take the company back for her kids. Now, Claudia and Andre comes up with this ultimate deal. There's a company, Ultimate, white company, which if I remember correctly is the same company that did not want to invest in this cosmetics company when Steven was first trying to start the business. But they end up, Claudia and Andre brokering this deal where they would, Ultimate would come in with like, I can't remember y'all, like $100 million. And that would solve the problem in their minds of the missing 20 million. But I'm like, no, we need to find out who siphoned this money. Because if they come in with 100 million, somebody else just come siphon all the money. Like, I don't know, this was just so stupid. And Nina tries to tell them this is a bad idea. You're going to give them control. It will no longer be a family-owned business. It will no longer be a black-owned business. And that they're foolish if they think that these white folk ain't finna come in here and change everything up. But again, the people we are, you know, against as far as Nina versus Claudia, they're idiots. They are all idiots. Gus, Alicia, Wanda, Claudia, they were all on board for this, just being idiots. So we end up discovering that the secret shareholder is actually a son whose dad was a shareholder, but the dad died and left it to his son. And the son just so happened to be a guy that Nina was hooking up with. And they get into a whole fight because she thinks that it was all like a ploy set up by Claudia. But he's like, I had no clue who you were. I haven't even gone through all the stuff that my dad left me and all these shares and stuff. But we get to the shareholder meeting where we are voting yay or nay on the ultimate deal. And everyone votes yay because they are all the shareholders, because all they care about and all they're thinking about is the money. And the only person who votes no with Nina and Simon is Wanda. Nina is able to convince her that this is not the right thing. This is not what your dad would have wanted. But then we discover a secret shareholder was a cousin who died and left his share to Nina and Simon's mother. And she ends up coming in to vote as a shareholder and votes against her kids. Y'all, that threw me. That really threw me. Why in the hell am I going to work on the side of Claudia? But the mom felt like this is like a poison tree and she don't want her kids to be a part of it. It was stolen from her. She feels like no good can come from her kids being a part of this. I get it, but your kids grown and they have made a decision, and I feel like it was just dead freaking wrong. So they win, and Gus and Alicia end up coming up with an idea. The white folk come in, oh, we just want to let y'all know everything will be the same. Yeah. And Gus and Alicia come up with an idea to end up doing skincare, to expand to skincare. And Ultimate pretty much shuts that deal down. And they finally get hit with the reality that y'all don't control the company, Ultimate does. Now, Nina is trying to find out some type of information, trying to figure some stuff out, because as of now, they have not won. So Nina discovers that Steven had Claudia investigated, had a DNA test done, and Wanda is not his biological child. So that can mess up her claim to the will, because the will specifically says that 30 million is to be shared with amongst his genetic offspring. genetic bloodline. Sorry, it was bloodline that he said. So this for me was the first time that we saw Claudia be genuine about anything. She was just clamoring like, please do not tell Wanda that that is not her father. And she ended up agreeing to nix the ultimate deal. And of course, everyone is stunned, confused, and Gus them are like, what the hell does Nina have over our mother to get her to nix this deal? Andre is upset because he was a part of brokering the deal, and this was supposed to lead to something lucrative for him. Now, I actually really like Claudia. Of course, she's not like a likable character, but I like her as an adversary. And I like that we finally got to see a genuine moment from her with the whole this will destroy Wanda. But man, I just really wish she were smarter. Like every decision she makes just feels so freaking dumb and stupid. And it's like she be shooting herself in the leg. Like it really makes no sense. Now, Wanda finally comes to the realization, or finally opens her eyes to the fact that her boyfriend is a user, and she ends up kind of sabotaging him. He wants to be an actor, and I thought this didn't make any sense. So he was kind of practicing for an audition, and he ends up bad-mouthing like the director or something. No one is there but his girlfriend. So then footage comes out of that rant, and I'm like, baby, you should know when you did that rant and nobody was there but her. But it takes him a minute to be like, wait a minute, it was you. So she pretty much breaks up with him, kicks him out, and he's kind of trying to plead his case, whatever. And he's like, you can't just kick me out on the street. She tossed money at him. It's like, yeah, here you go, get a cab. And I was just like, baby, don't act grand. Don't act like you don't need to pick that money up. Don't act like you don't need to pick that money up. But she finally got rid of him. Now, Nina ends up, still trying to track down who took the 20 million. But really, y'all, with the siblings and Claudia voting for the ultimate deal, with Claudia them not even trying to investigate and find out who took the 20 million. Nina was working with the forensic accountant. She was trying to like get this solved, and I'm just like, baby, let the freaking company crash and burn. But we end up discovering that it was actually Gideon, and I called it. Now, I didn't call it from the very beginning, but the same reason that Nina said in the series of why she suspected him was exactly why I was. It just seemed like Claudia and Andre just kept being 2 steps ahead every time. And it's like, Gideon, you're a lawyer, you're the professional, this is what you do. We should be the one with the leg up. How Claudia, dumbass, keep beating us to the punch when it comes to stuff. So we discovered that it's Gideon, but he is actually setting Andre up, which it was obvious to me that it was never Andre. At the beginning, I couldn't call who took the money, but I knew it wasn't Andre. That was too obvious. He the CFO, so he was absent-minded and not doing his due diligence as far as the fact that nobody caught this. But I knew it wasn't him who was actually taking the money. But anyway, Gideon has it set up to where he is framing Andre, and it looks like Andre did it. So Nina sets up where she has Andre arrested in the company for everybody to see, because she needs proof. She needs to be able to catch Gideon red-handed, and she needs the money back. Because with that missing 20 million, she was saying one little thing and the whole company can go under because we're missing $20 million. So I keep saying dollars, but y'all, it's pounds over there. So the thing that annoyed me, she did not tell Gus, none of them, nothing. Obviously, I wouldn't. Y'all just voted for the ultimate deal, and y'all have been plotting against me to take my CEO position and take the company, and y'all just been plotting from the beginning. Why would I side with y'all and tell y'all anything? So Nina bails Andre out of jail and takes him to her place, and we trying to work together to get Gideon, which I was annoyed. We had to work with Andre because I was like, fire that nigga, get him up out of here. Now, Alicia ends up seeing Andre and Nina together, and she runs to Gideon. And when Nina finds out, she gets upset, and I'm just like, I hated that Nina apologized for not telling them, but I feel like I wouldn't apologize. Y'all have been plotting on me from day one. Why would I trust y'all with any information? Why would I tell y'all anything? Hell yeah, I'm gonna keep y'all in the dark. So now we can't get ahead of Gideon. So we all come together to try to figure out how the heck can we get Gideon. And Andre is like, yo, we need to just clear my name, because so I don't go to jail, because he has been set up. Now, something else that we end up seeing was Claudia ends up taking a trip, going away to their country house or something, and a neighbor comes over and makes mention of this plant in Claudia's garden, about how it's poisonous and it's called the husband killer or something. Now, I was thinking, like, is this a little tip, like something this gonna lead to something? But no, I was wrong. It wasn't a tip where it was gonna lead. It was a call back to how Stephen died. When we end up trying to figure out how to get the money back, Nina and Andre go to Gideon, and we go through this whole thing with him and get him to give us the money back, and we tell him we ain't gonna go to the cops or whatever. And he asks for like assurances, and Nina is just like, my father died. Because the dad had cancer. I'm sorry, I forgot to mention that. The dad had cancer, and the doctors say that cancer patients are at a high risk for strokes and stuff. So Nina is like, my father died trying to solve this and figure this out. You don't get to live in peace. So basically, he gets no assurances that we're not going to the cops. But we did recover the money. But y'all, remember that flower I was talking about? Gideon pops up at Claudia's house and says he knows that she killed Stephen. Y'all, that's what the flower conversation was about. Now, I'm confused why she killed her husband. Now, she already living a rich, lavish life. Unless he was planning to divorce her and she would get nothing. I'm just like, why would you kill him? And I'm like, why would you kill the father of your kids? Like, this is something devastating and, to your kids. Like, why would you do that? But it tripped me out when people do dirt and can't handle the fact that you just got caught with your dirt. Like, Gideon, baby, you did dirt. Just accept the fact that you got caught. And I forgot to say how he got caught was Maureen makes mention of the fact that Gideon and his wife had a son that died. When we're trying to trace the money and where it was going, there was a certain company, and we discovered this weasel had the company like under the name of his dead son. That's so sleazy. That's so low down. But I'm just like, why you can't accept that you did your dirt and got caught, Gideon? Why you gotta try and pull Claudia down? You did dirt, you got caught. Just accept it. So that's a little cliffhanger that they kind of left us with that. Now also, Nina and Simon discover there is a sixth sibling. They don't know who it is, but they decide not to tell Wanda and Gustin, which I wouldn't either, child. But then we see Maureen go home to her son. Maureen and her boss, the boss secretary affair, it happened. And I'm like, dang. So this is why he put in the will his children, his genetic bloodline. Maureen's son is entitled to that trust fund. They're gonna have to split that 30 million. Instead of 5 ways, it's gonna be 6. Oh wait, no, it's still gonna be 5 ways. Because Wanda don't get no money. So we still splitting it 5 ways. Okay, yeah, I got that wrong. But so I deduced that some of them emails and calendar and stuff that baby was deleting was proof of their affair. So that's another little cliffhanger we get left on, because we got another sibling. And Nina and Simon know it's another sibling, but they don't know who it is. Now, I feel like this was very well made, well written. I am not into soaps and drama in the slightest, but I was glued to this. But I do feel like it was way too short. Amazon raggedy for only giving us 6 episodes. This could have been fleshed out a lot more. I feel like we could have put a lot more into this first season. It's a lot more they could have given us. 6, come on, y'all could at least given us 8 to 10 episodes. But I also feel like they did really well in conveying the wealth of the family, but I don't think they did very well in conveying the power of the family. Something Claudia says in here is like, do you know who I am? And I'm just like, no, bitch, don't nobody know who you are. I just feel like they didn't really convey how powerful this family is. Gus and Alicia and one of them, they just kind of like scrubs. Like I just feel like, and you know, I'm being funny saying a scrub, but I just feel like the power wasn't conveyed. Even with Gus and that cop, Gus goes to try to take action before he gets the PI, and he gets a letter saying, nope, the cop was on the up and up. So I'm just like, I feel like we're not really conveying the power of the family very well. We are conveying the wealth. I also feel like we got some exciting like twists and turns. The story is pretty dramatic. I want to say over dramatic in that soap opera way, but at the same time it does feel believable. Like it doesn't veer off into over dramatic like ridiculous territory. Now I feel like this is one of the best ensemble casts on a TV show that I have seen this year. Top tier. Everybody was on point. Like I said, I do feel like this would be more exciting if it was in line of like Billions, if the adversaries, you know, Nina and Simon versus Claudia and her kids, if they were smarter and more calculating and had, you know, more intelligent, it would make this little war more exciting. Because Claudia is like, we're at war, but y'all dumb as a dog. Like, they are dumb as a doorknob. I couldn't even get it out. But, like, they are so dumb. Like, what kind of war is this? Y'all are idiots. But I feel like this was a really good show. Definitely not my cup of tea, but I was so into this. And I was shocked, like, why am I into this? Like, this ain't even a type of show I watch, but I loved it. If you got into Riches, let me know in the comments, what do you think about this show? Who is your favorite character? Because my favorite character is Simon. Love Simon. All his little one-liners, the character in general, the actor. I love Simon. Simon is my MVP of the season. Number 2 would be Nina. But I mean, who else besides Nina and Simon? Because everybody else ain't got the sense God gave a duck. I do really like Claudia though. I think it may be the actress and the way she pulls off the character that makes me like Claudia so much, because Claudia is an idiot, but I really like Claudia. I don't know, she just has a certain just flair and attitude. Like, she's a good little, you know, villain character. Now, I lost my train of thought. I was finna say something, I can't remember. But I talk a lot of crap when it comes to Amazon original content. I just feel like it's the bottom of the barrel. But if they give us some more stuff like Riches, I could be on board with them a little bit. But make sure you like this video, comment down below, share this video, let me know your thoughts, and make sure you are subscribed. Make sure you have your bell notification on. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. I'll see you in the next one. Thank you.